The human mind, in today's world, is under constant pressure. An overwhelming stream of information, persistent worries, and continuous stimulation have led many people to believe they have lost their ability to focus. But the reality is different. The problem is not a lack of capability. It is cognitive overload. In cognitive psychology, this state is referred to as high cognitive load, a condition in which the brain's processing capacity becomes saturated with excessive input. When this happens, focus declines, decision-making slows down, and even simple tasks begin to feel mentally exhausting. This is not a personal failure. It is a predictable response of the brain under pressure. The good news is that this state is not permanent. It can be reversed if approached correctly. The first principle is managing mental input. The brain is constantly absorbing information. However, not all information is valuable. Endless scrolling, fragmented content, and random stimuli gradually consume attentional resources. From a neuroscience perspective, every piece of input competes for limited cognitive bandwidth. When the mind is filled with low-quality information, clarity becomes impossible. Reducing informational noise is essential. Only then can the mind regain space to think. The second principle is externalizing thoughts. The brain is not designed to store everything. It is designed to process. When thoughts remain internal, they tend to repeat and amplify. This creates mental clutter and increases cognitive tension. Writing thoughts down, a process known as cognitive offloading, reduces this burden. It allows the mind to slow down and organize itself. Clarity does not come from thinking more. It comes from releasing what is already inside. The third principle is selective attention. Attempting to pursue multiple goals simultaneously often leads to diminished performance. This is due to what psychologists call divided attention, which reduces efficiency and increases errors. True focus is not about doing more. It is about doing less with full attention. Prioritization is not a limitation. It is a strategic advantage. The fourth principle is training attention. Focus is not an innate trait. It is a skill that can be developed over time. Research shows that attention improves with deliberate practice. The process should begin with small, manageable intervals. 10 minutes of uninterrupted work, free from distractions, is a powerful starting point. If sustained focus cannot be maintained for a short duration, it cannot be expected over longer periods. Consistency builds capacity. The fifth principle is regulating dopamine. Modern environments provide constant access to immediate rewards. Social media, notifications, and rapid entertainment. These stimuli elevate baseline dopamine levels, making slower, effortful tasks feel less appealing. As a result, meaningful work appears more difficult than it actually is. By reducing exposure to instant gratification, the brain gradually recalibrates. Over time, effortful activities begin to feel natural again. The sixth principle is accepting discomfort. The mind naturally avoids effort and seeks ease. When faced with challenging tasks, it often escapes into distraction. However, deep focus requires the ability to tolerate discomfort. It requires remaining engaged even when the mind urges withdrawal. Growth occurs not in comfort, but in sustained effort under pressure. The seventh principle is environmental design. The surrounding environment plays a significant role in mental clarity. A disorganized space introduces subtle distractions that fragment attention. In contrast, A clean and structured environment supports cognitive stability. External order often leads to internal clarity. The eighth principle is protecting the beginning of the day. The first hour after waking has a measurable impact on mental state and productivity. Starting the day with passive consumption, such as checking a phone, reduces intentional control over attention. In contrast, beginning with purposeful action strengthens focus and direction. How the day begins often determines how it unfolds. The ninth principle is discipline. Motivation is inconsistent. Focus fluctuates. But discipline operates independently of emotion. It is the ability to act regardless of internal resistance. Sustained progress is not built on feeling ready. It is built on showing up consistently. And finally, a shift in identity is required. Focus is not something that is occasionally achieved. It is a characteristic that is developed. It is the result of repeated actions, performed daily, even in the presence of distraction, because focus is not something you find. It is something you build, and the process does not begin tomorrow. It begins now.